Have you ever wanted to work in the UK? Maybe you already do. A recent article in Bloomberg claimed that the UK's reliance on overseas workers has risen since Brexit. Now, I'm not here to get into the politics of it. No. I'll leave that to other people. But I do want to talk about the work culture in the UK and how different it can be to other places around the world. So whether you're an accountant, a nurse, or a barista and you want to work in the UK, here are 7 essential things you need to know before you move. Welcome Eat Dreamers, my name is Teacher Tom and I teach fresh, modern British English so that you can communicate with confidence and speak like a local. Today we're talking about 7 essential tips to work in the UK. Generally speaking, people in the UK work for 8 hours a day, from 9 until 5. Now this of course can vary depending on the job you do, the company that you work for. For example, if you work in the hospitality industry, you're probably going to have to work at weekends. The legal limit that a company can ask its employees to work is 48 hours per week, averaged over a 17-week period. However, it is possible for companies to ask their employees to sign opt-out agreements, therefore agreeing to work longer hours. Greetings. Okay, this is a tricky one. So, as a general rule in the workplace, Brits tend to shake hands. This is true for colleagues meeting each other for the first time, for meeting new clients, and it's not gender specific. On a daily basis though, there's no need to shake hands. You can just say hi or hello or how are you. Now again, there are lots of factors to take in. So it depends on the company you work for, the relationship you have with your colleagues. A good rule of thumb is to take your cues from other people. Observe what other people are doing and go from there. Lunchtime rituals are a sacred thing in many countries. Not in the UK. For most people, it's a very functional thing. We usually get between 30 minutes to an hour for our lunch, and a lot of people that I spoke to actually eat their lunch at their desks. Yeah, I know that sounds a bit crazy, especially to any French or Spanish viewers right now, but yeah, we do tend to eat at our desks. Okay, so that's the time. Now, what do we eat for lunch? Well, this is not gourmet cuisine. It's going to be fast and efficient. A typical lunch in the UK is a sandwich, a soup, or a salad. There's something we have called a meal deal, which is very popular, which is a sandwich, a drink, and crisps for a sort of special price. Of course, again, it depends on where you are. If you're in one of the big city centres, then you can get sushi, burritos, rice boxes, whatever you want. But in general, sandwich, soup, salad. And of course, lots of people make their lunch at home and bring it to work. Some popular lunch spots to look out for are Pret A Manger, Subway, Greggs, Tesco Express, Sainsbury's Local, and M&S Food. Okay, let's move on to holidays. So most workers in the UK are entitled to 28 days paid annual leave, and that's if they work a 5-day week. This equates to roughly 5.6 weeks a year. In England and Wales, we have 8 bank holidays. That's a public holiday here in the UK, and they are spread out across the year around Christmas, Easter. We've got a couple in May, and then one at the end of August. In Scotland and in Northern Ireland, there are a couple of extra bank holidays. As for holiday destinations, the Brits tend to go to France, south of Spain, Portugal, and the Greek islands as well. But you are seeing people travel further abroad now that the pandemic has ended. So the United States has always been popular. Dubai is another popular destination. And of course, Southeast Asia for that backpacking route as well. Perhaps the most important aspect of work culture in Britain is the way that we socialise. In many cultures, people gather around food. When I lived in Hong Kong, we used to socialise around big meals. So lunchtime, dinner time, people would gather and it was wonderful. I loved it. In the UK, it's alcohol. That's how we gather together, usually in a pub or bar after work. I know it seems ridiculous, right? But on a Thursday night after work, Friday night because it's the beginning of the weekend, Saturday because it's a friend's birthday, Sunday for a roast. Yeah, you get the idea. Pub life is a big thing here. As soon as it hits 5 o'clock here, the pubs around the UK fill up with groups of colleagues chatting about work, moaning about the boss, discussing Love Island or Premier League football results. You get the idea. In truth, the pub is how Brits form social bonds. It's a way of life here that extends to work. That said, lots of people don't drink alcohol for various reasons, and that doesn't stop them from socialising in a work context. Indeed, these days, companies are much more mindful to organise events that are more inclusive for everybody. And if I had one tip for anyone coming to the UK, I would say throw yourself in to work socials and get to know everyone. My last tip is all about language. We Brits, we can be a bit of a complicated bunch. We are very indirect, which essentially means, well, we don't say what we really mean. I've had lots of American colleagues in the past baffled by how long it takes us to get to the point. I know it can be very frustrating, but I guess it's our attempt to be more polite. Instead of saying, open the window, we would say something like, would you mind possibly, if it's not too much trouble, opening the window? I know it takes longer, there are more words, but to us, it's more polite. It's a good thing to be mindful of when you're communicating with the people around you. Now, there's a section in my book, A Really British Guide to Business English, that gives you lots of phrases to help you communicate politely. There's also an A to Z dictionary of 555 modern business English words and phrases, from all hands on deck to 0-hour contract and everything in between. It's all the vocabulary that you'll need to communicate at work. Plus, there are 17 mini lessons to help you communicate in real world situations. So if you'd like to get a digital copy of my brand new book, the link is in the description below. You can also download my free ebook, 20 Brilliant Business English Idioms. That's also in the link below. Speaking of idioms, here's a video that you can watch right now all about business English idioms. Or here's another one that you might prefer. Choose which one you want, and I'll see you in the next video.